I never thought I'd hear her voice again. Not after the funeral. Not after the night we buried her under that old oak tree behind the church. My sister Emily was the kind of girl who could make the world feel alive, even when everything was falling apart. She died 3 years ago in a car crash. At least, that's what they told me. But last Tuesday night, at exactly 11:57 p.m., my phone rang, the same ringtone she used to assign to herself. I froze. My hands trembled as I reached for the phone. It said, "Emily calling." Impossible, she's gone. The call lasted only 27 seconds, and in those 27 seconds, I heard her breathing. Not static, not distortion, breathing. Like she was right there on the other side of the line, afraid to speak. I didn't tell anyone. I couldn't. Mum still takes pills to sleep since Emily died, and Dad hasn't spoken her name in years. So I did what any broken brother would do. I tried to find logic in madness. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe some hacker, some twisted prankster. But that night, when I went to bed, I dreamed of her. She was standing in the hallway, barefoot, her white dress soaked in rain, hair stuck to her pale face. Her lips moved, but the sound didn't come out. Then suddenly, I heard it. Not from her lips, but from behind me. "Pick up the next call. It's the only way you'll find me." I woke up drenched in sweat. 2:03 a.m., the air felt heavy, like someone was sitting on my chest. And then, the phone lit up again. It was Emily. Again. This time, I answered. There was silence for a few seconds. Then, faintly, through what sounded like a bad connection, came her voice, soft, trembling, broken. "Daniel, you never came to see me." My throat tightened. Emily, is that you?" Static breathing, and then a single sentence that made my blood run cold. "They lied to you." What do you mean?" But before she could answer, the call cut. The phone tone fades into low hum. I didn't sleep after that. I just sat there, staring at my phone, replaying her voice in my head. It wasn't a recording, it wasn't fake. I know my sister's voice, and whatever that was, it was real. By morning, I'd convinced myself to trace the call. I worked at a small IT firm, so I had the tools. I tracked the signal, but it didn't lead to a number. It led to a location. An abandoned farmhouse, about 30 miles from where Emily's car crashed. I should have stopped there, but I didn't. Because that same night, the phone rang again, and this time, she was crying. "Find me, Danny." The road to the farmhouse felt endless. My headlights carved through the fog like knives, and every shadow looked like it wanted to step closer. The GPS said 20 more minutes, but time started bending. The clock on the dashboard froze at 11:57 p.m., the same minute Emily first called me. I whispered to myself, "It's just a number, it's just a glitch." Yet the air grew colder. My phone vibrated once. New voicemail. No service, but a voicemail. "Danny, don't come here." It was her, the same voice, trembling, terrified. But she said my childhood nickname, one only she ever used. I stepped out. The farmhouse stood like a skeleton of wood and silence. The windows were black holes. The front door hung open as if waiting for me. Inside, dust floated through my flashlight beam. A faint smell, wet earth, rust, and something sweetly rotten. I called out, "Emily?" My voice came back to me, warped, as though someone repeated it a half-second late. "Danny." I turned fast, nothing but shadows. The floorboards creaked with every step. Then my flashlight flickered and went out. In that dark, something moved near the staircase. Slow, dragging steps, like bare feet on wood. I held up my phone to use its light, and on the cracked screen I saw a reflection behind me. A girl in white, soaked, head tilted, eyes black pools. "Emily?" She smiled, faintly, Then her mouth opened wider than it should, and the whisper came not from her lips, but from the phone speaker in my hand. "Follow the ringing, Danny." A phone rang upstairs. Old, shrill, mechanical, like a landline buried under dust. I climbed, every step heavier than the last. The walls were lined with photographs, faces scratched out, except one. Emily and me, age 10, standing in front of this same house, except we never lived here. I reached the door at the end of the hall. The ringing stopped. Inside, an old rotary phone sat on a small table. It shouldn't have worked. The wire dangled loose from the wall. Still, the handset lifted itself slowly, just an inch, and dropped. "You left me there." I spun around. She stood in the corner, half in shadow. "Emily, they said you died in a crash. They lied. They buried what they found. But I wasn't in the car when it burned." I stepped closer, tears mixing with fear. "Then where were you?" Her eyes flicked toward the floorboards. Downstairs, still there. I followed her gaze. She vanished. The next thing I heard was the floor splitting open behind me, a hollow echo rising from below. Something metallic clinked, like chains dragged across concrete. "Emily?" Then a whisper directly beside my ear. "Help me, Danny, before they find you too." I ran down the stairs. The front door slammed shut on its own. My phone buzzed in my pocket again. No caller ID. I answered without thinking. Static breathing, then my own voice. "Don't trust her. Don't trust her. Don't trust her." The line went dead. The first time, I wasn't sure who Emily really was anymore. The sister I lost, or something wearing her memory. I stood frozen at the top of the stairs, staring into that split in the floor. The gap looked narrow, but beneath it, something breathed. Slow, heavy, patient. The air smelled of mold and rust, and something older, like rain trapped for years. I found a lantern on the shelf, the glass cracked but still working. Its light swayed as I crouched and pushed the loose boards aside. Cold air crawled up my arms. A ladder descended into the dark. I hesitated, whispering, "Emily, if you're here, I'm coming." Each step, lower, deeper, the basement wasn't made of stone but of packed earth. Old jars lined one wall, inside them floated things I didn't want to name. And in the far corner stood a chair, buckled iron straps across its arms, dried stains dark against the wood. "What did they do to you, Em?" A faint hum answered, like electricity buried in the walls, and then her voice came, soft, trembling, from every direction at once. "They brought me here when I screamed too loud. They said I was sick. They said they'd fix me." I stepped closer to the chair. Scratched into the floor were words, uneven, carved by fingernails. "Hear me ring." Then the lantern dimmed. I lifted my phone. Its screen glowed, though the signal read, "No service." The call icon flashed by itself. "Incoming call, Emily." I answered. No sound. Then, a faint recording started to play, our last voicemail before she died. "Hey Danny, I'm heading home now. Road slippery. I'll call you when I..." Crash noise, scream, static. But this time, the recording didn't end. Her voice kept going, whispering through the distortion. "They stopped me before the curve. It wasn't an accident." "Who, Emily? Who stopped you?" The answer came not from the phone, but from the darkness behind the chair. She shouldn't have told. I turned the lantern toward the sound and saw him. A man, tall, wearing a maintenance uniform, his face pale under dust, eyes hollow like glass. He smiled without lips. "We only fixed the broken ones. What did you do to her?" He stepped closer, his shadow splitting into two, then three shapes moving out of sync. She wouldn't stop calling, even after we buried her, so we made sure the line stayed open. The phone on the chair rang once, twice. Emily's voice screamed through the speaker, raw, desperate. "Danny, run!" I grabbed the lantern and sprinted for the ladder. Something cold gripped my ankle, pulling hard. I kicked, felt bone crack under my boot. climbed faster. When I reached the main floor, the door burst open from the wind. The house groaned like it was alive. Outside, lightning flashed, and for a heartbeat, I saw her in the yard, under the oak tree, drenched, trembling, reaching toward me. "Danny, please, free me." Before I could move, the ground beneath her shifted, and she was gone, swallowed by the dirt as if the earth itself pulled her back. Thunder roared. My phone slipped from my hand and landed screen up in the mud. On the display, the call timer still ran. Connected. And beneath the ticking seconds, faintly, a second voice whispered, "Mine. I told you not to trust her." I sat in the car, soaked to the bone, engine off. Eyes locked on the phone glowing in the passenger seat. The call was still running. 3 hours. 4. The seconds kept counting even when I pressed end. It wouldn't stop. I whispered, "Emily, please. If you can hear me, I'm listening." The line hissed, then cleared. Her voice came through, fragile, almost human again. "You shouldn't have come alone." A knock hit the window, 3 slow taps. I turned. Nothing, just darkness and rain. Then, from the rearview mirror, I saw her sitting in the back seat. Her reflection didn't move when I did. Eyes black, mouth trembling. "You left me calling in the dark. They made me call. Now it's your turn." I stumbled out of the car, phone in hand. The house loomed behind me, its windows glowing faint orange. Shapes moved inside. People? Shadows? I couldn't tell. I ran toward the woods, mud sucking at my shoes, branches clawing my face. The phone kept ringing in my hand, though no one was dialing. Each tone echoed like it came from everywhere, the trees, the ground, my own chest. "Emily, what do you want from me?" Silence. Then a child's voice, younger, purer. "I just want you to answer." The world flickered, the woods gone, the road returned, the crash site. My car lay twisted, flames frozen in midair like photographs. I was standing exactly where she died. "You were with me that night, Danny." My stomach dropped. I remembered headlights, a scream, glass shattering. But not hers, mine. "They told you I died first. But you were the one who never woke up." The phone melted into light in my hand. Around me, everything dimmed. The sky, the road, the sound of rain, all draining away. Only her voice remained. "Every call you've answered was me trying to help you remember." "Then why bring me here?" "Because I can't leave without you." I felt her fingers touch mine, cold, gentle. The world blinked out. When I opened my eyes, morning sunlight streamed through my bedroom window. The phone lay on my chest, no call history, no voicemails. Just one new notification. Missed call, Emily, 11:57 p.m. I smiled, thinking maybe it was all a dream. Then the phone rang again. I picked it up. My voice answered from the other end. "Danny, it's time to come home." Soft wind fading out, voice gentle, haunting. "If you're still here, listening to my voice right now, then remember, some calls never really end. Sometimes they just wait for someone else to pick up." Tell me, would you answer if your phone rang at 11:57 tonight? If this story found you tonight, stay close. There are more voices waiting to be heard. Subscribe before the next call comes through. First, then silence.